Good morning, Land Golf Academy members, or good afternoon, I should say. Happy Wednesday, and today is not the usual type of swing diagnosis video, so if you're not into this type of stuff, you may as well just tune back tomorrow. But before you leave, do me a favor and hit that quick like. It really helps us grow this channel to get more funding to the children in Cape Flat, South Africa for low income that can't play this game. We're trying to give them an avenue to do so. So I appreciate your support. And let me first start out by saying I apologize to somebody that I was having communications with our comments. And unfortunately, when I go to find your comment, I can't find it. So if you are watching, accept my apology. We just got a little miscommunication there about what happens past impact, and who knew that the golf swing could create such static in the air. But that's a good thing because we like to talk about the golf swing's cause and effect. So today we're going to be touching base, kind of taking some time off from swing diagnosis and talk about what's going on in the golf world. We're going to look at some old Tiger Woods Nike commercials and talk about the relationship between Nike and Tiger and who benefited from that the most, and what that helped Tiger accomplish early on in his career was such a boost from Nike, and was it an unfair advantage to the rest of the field? We'll talk about that and more, so stick around and let's get going. Okay, so next up we're gonna go straight to the Tiger Woods commercials, and I remember this clear as day, specifically when I just watched Tiger win 3 US amateurs in a row, and he was gonna come out guns blazing, basically quit Stanford and said, you know what, Nike's gonna give me $40 million to come out and play professional golf. Let me just give it a try, and he backed it up with a national advertising campaign that started off with this commercial. Some of you have probably never seen this commercial, but it's going to be hard to believe, but I'm sure most of you remember this. But let's just watch this, and you might not hear that well. I've got my speaker right against the microphone because there is something wrong with my recording software. Again, I'm a golf pro, I'm not a producer, so let's just try and make the best of this, and we'll talk about it. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with this golf course is. This is Griffith Park, number 1, I believe, at Harding. And this is where he basically grew up. He grew up in Southern California. So when you see Tiger Woods specifically as an industry, Nike saw this as a perfect opportunity to bring somebody in, person of color, biracial, hot, flashy guy that's good looking, hits the ball a mile, just destroys everybody that's in his path. And he had a great collegiate record for the 1 year he was at Stanford. He would basically just go out and demolish the field continuously. And Nike saw that and says, hey, look, we've got somebody like a Michael Jordan for basketball, but we get this new Michael Jordan for golf, so let's just offer this kid $40 million. Let's get on the bandwagon here and talk to the people that don't play golf. So we saw in that commercial many children from different backgrounds in the deep city suburbs, kids wearing jeans, pullovers that are not golfers. And this was great for us in the industry because it did reach out to a new demographic that we had a challenge of getting to prior to Arnie's Army, and he really invited golf to a blue-collar worker, but there's been nothing since. So here comes Tiger 2.0 Arnie, and not only is he going to help grow the game, but also all the money behind that. This is the direction that Nike went with. So for all those kids that can say, hey, look, there's somebody that looks like me playing a game that we don't really get to play, this was a great golden opportunity. Now for Tiger to get $40 million without even hitting one professional tour shot, a lot of the tour pros at the time did not take a liking to that. They thought that was just unfair, and here comes this guy. Who is this guy? Hasn't proven himself yet, but yet Nike's dropping $40 million. And now what did this do for Tiger? Now, I'm a huge believer that this only allowed Tiger to be even more aggressive because he didn't have to worry if he missed the cut. What big deal? I already got $40 million in the bank. Even if I go and just completely make a fool of myself for the next year, I still got money in the bank from Nike, and I'm set for life with $40 million. But now, with his ability to hit the golf ball far, he can cut more corners. He can go and attack pins that other touring pros at that time who are struggling to keep their card or make enough to pay for their expenses for the following week. They can't cut corners and go for pins because they have to play a little different golf. So this gave Tiger more ammunition, and Nike knew this. That's why they said, look, this guy just needs a bankroll that he doesn't have to worry about taking any chances. He can just take chances. And we saw this as he came out in 97 in the Augusta National, and he just demolished the field. And because he was just hitting the ball so far, cutting corners, going for pins, because he's got $40 million in the bank, that really helped him. So what do you think about that? Do you think I'm just having a conspiracy theory about Tiger and giving him an unfair advantage, or is there something to that? So this next one is a little bit more comedic, and I quite enjoyed this because we've all been there as teaching professionals. So the reason that brings a chuckle to my mind is it's basically the same when I'm instructing somebody. They just want to eavesdrop, so the whole range could be empty and I'm with my students, and guess who comes right next to us to get a free eavesdrop lesson? And I love it because I know that this person is going to try and utilize what I'm working on with my students, but they don't understand that it doesn't matter what I'm working on with the students. It's not going to apply to them. So next thing you know, you see them doing the exact thing I'm trying to help my student with. They're hitting it worse and they wonder why. It's the same sort of thing here. So just be careful when you start to eavesdrop on instructors. But it's also really fun to see when you play with better players, how that just rubs off on you and you get better tempo, you get better timing, you actually hit the ball a little bit better. But as soon as they leave and you go back to your buddies, guess what? You're back to chopping it up and hitting squirrels and doing all that stuff. So I just thought that was kind of cool. We got one more here, and this is another commercial that really set a trend with Tiger and just to show his skill set. You might remember this. So the interesting thing about that commercial is that was not even supposed to be a commercial. He was just filming for another commercial, and in between the takes and in between what they were doing, he picked up a ball and started bouncing it on his club head. Now, whoever was running tape at that time said, hey, let me just keep running this. And it turned out to be a commercial of its own. So that was just pure sporadic. It was just pure at the time things occurred. Now that is a sign. What he was doing there is a sign of a junior golfer that grew up in the 80s and 90s in Southern California. I remember going out because I grew up the same amount of time as Tiger in LA. And the issue with that is, as a single player, I would go to, let's say, Rancho Park. I'd get there at 6 in the morning. As a single, I have to join the waiting list, and I might be lucky if I get squeezed out at 9 o'clock. Once you're on the golf course at 9 o'clock, you're done at 3:30. It took 6.5 hours to play. So in between the holes, what do you think you're doing? You're just bouncing, you're chipping, you're bouncing clubs, you're getting all this extra talent that some of these other kids at country clubs that have 4.5 hour rounds, they don't develop. So this was nothing strange for us in Southern California watchers. It's like, hey, we can all kind of do that. What's the big deal? but it just shows you that this is a golfer that grew up in Joe Public's world, and that gives him a little bit more advantage, not necessarily bouncing golf balls on the club head, but in terms of the golf course manicure side. They're just not as well manicured as country clubs. He's able to get more creative. He's in the rough all the time, unraked bunkers, even the fairways have roots all over the place. So he developed a different skill set, and pair that along with his incredible talent and work ethic, you can see why Nike just jumped all over him. He's one of us. So before we dive too much into this, we're going to look at just basically how much Tiger Woods made. And after 27 years, we could see his first contract was for 5 years, $40 million in '96. And then he went on to secure another contract for 5 years in 2001 for $100 million. And then in 2006, an 8-year contract falling between 160 and 320. And then his final contract was for a decade in 2013 for $200 million. So when you add them all up, we're looking at bare minimum of $500 million all the way up to $600-700 million. Now we can see in 2013 they just signed Tiger to a $200 million 10-year contract, because at that time, let's scroll down here and take a look at 2013. I mean, you look at all his major championships and these big wins were basically at 2013 and before. If we keep scrolling down, we can see after 2013 here, look at all of a sudden we have a dry spell. We go down to his wins and PGA Tour summary. Look at where it stops, 2013. We do have a few here and there. He won 3 events in a span of 11 years, but prior to that, he won 79 tour events. So I went ahead and did the math. From 90, we're going to call it from 96 because that's when he turned professional. So from 96 until 2013, he had 308 entries. He made the cut in 289, which is a 93% cut, which is really, really phenomenal. And he had a win rate of 25%. So in 309 events, he won 79, 25%. Past 2013, we saw his cut rate drop to 75%. And his win rate dropped to 4%. So we take a look at Nike. They signed a contract in 2013 for $200 million, and all of a sudden the guy is not producing. Now, obviously he's still Tiger Woods, and he's going to bring in numbers, and we still see it today when Tiger's in the field. People just come out. So it doesn't necessarily have to win, but it does take its toll on the sales. And we take a look at right around 2017, Nike decided that they wanted to just veer out of golf. Golf was actually losing them money. And I've read many articles that say that Nike actually lost money in the golf section in their company. Now, if you take a look at Michael Jordan, the Michael Jordan brand sells close to $7 billion in sales every year. At the peak for Nike for golf, they were selling $750 million a year. So it's very small in terms of where they want to make the money. So once Tiger turned 38, his game took a toll for its worst, and it could be injuries, it could be other stuff that happened, obviously. But whatever reason it is, they signed a bad contract. They jumped on the gun. They saw that Tiger was the man. They thought, oh, he's indestructible. He's going to keep going. 38 and over, that's very hard to maintain where you were from 21 to 38, specifically with his motion and how aggressive it is. Your body will just wear down. So what happened at the very end is Nike pulled out. Now, I find it a little bit ironic that Nike, of all places, is trying to play this whole social demographic advertising campaign on you as the consumer so you can help buy product. Now, if you take a look at Nike's ethical history, I'm not going to say anything on this channel. I want you to go do your own individual research. Basically, go to Google and put, is Nike ethical? And you can take care of the rest. Pull that information in and come up with whatever you want to decide. But let me know in the comments what you think about all this Nike stuff with Tiger. Did they make a right decision? Did they overpay for him? I believe it was a mutual decision. I think it's a break even. I think Nike made as much as they paid Tiger, but it also helped them raise their whole brand awareness. So it definitely has some ancillary income on the other side, on the other projects as well. I hope you enjoyed this type of stuff. If you do, let me know in the comments below. But if not, let me know as well if this is a waste of time. But I thought every now and then we'll just do one of these just to kind of catch up. And so I don't bore you to death with swing analysis. I can bore you to death with this instead. Let me know in the comments who you think I should do it on. I can even do it on one of you guys if you want to send me your video. And please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Really helps the channel grow. fairways and green.